let me just go off because I love Coconut Grove so much. And I didn't want to just be, like a pretty face doing social media ads. I wanted to make an impact. There's little pockets that I still feel like the old Grove. Every single summer there, 3 summers in a row, we never saw the sun. We were like in that playhouse from like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Today we're going inside the Grove with Nicole Lopez-Alvar. Nicole is the food and drink editor at Miami New Times, and she practically grew up in Coconut Grove. From attending Carrollton School of the Sacred Heart to spending summers performing at the Coconut Grove Playhouse. In this episode, we talk about the Grove through the eyes of someone who's watched it evolve firsthand, along with Miami's ever-changing food culture and the places that still make the neighborhood feel uniquely Grove. All that and more, right now on Inside the Grove. All right, welcome back everybody to Inside the Grove. I have Nicole Lopez-Alvar here with us. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for coming on and joining us. So we're going to jump right into it. You're a Grovite through and through. I read a lot about your bio and everything. You have a rescue dog, a Chihuahua named Romeo. Yep. So tell us, were you born in the Grove? Did you move here when you were really young? Tell me a little bit about your time in the Grove.
So I was born in Miami, Jackson Memorial Hospital, to Cuban parents. So I'm a classic Miami girl, I would say, raised in Miami. My parents moved to Pinecrest when I was very little, and then they put me in Carrollton in 3rd grade. So from there, I was constantly commuting from Pinecrest to Coconut Grove. And then from there, we moved a little bit closer to the Grove, kind of in between the Gables and the Grove, a little area like on Oak Cutler Road.
Beautiful.
And from there, I just have every single weekend I spent in the Grove, going to Green Street Cafe on the weekends with my friends. Lulu in the Grove is also one of my favorite lunch spots. So I have so many amazing memories just on that gorgeous canopy, right on, like when you drive to Oak Cutler Road and then you turn onto Main Highway. I just feel like that just reminds me of home. There's
no place in the world like Coconut Grove. Like we spoke earlier, I live far away, but I come here and I'm blessed to be able to come here and meet with the people and see this beautiful culture that we have down here and be welcomed by a lot of the people down here. It's a very welcoming group of people, I think.
So true. There's like this bohemian atmosphere to it, even though it's gotten so popular and trendy. There's really so many like artsy people, right? There's like beautiful homes that you can't find anywhere else. There's no cookie cutter house.
Right.
Everything is so unique. The canopies, like the lush landscaping, every house is full of life and each house is so unique.
Well, that's a big topic of discussion that we have had a lot with a lot of our guests is that bohemian style, right? Do you feel like the Grove has lost that? It sounds like you feel like it still has a grip on it.
I'm so glad to see longtime restaurants like Le Bouchon du Grove that have kept their charm. They have gone against the cookie cutter, I guess, of like maybe that area of Panther Coffee on Main Highway that, of course, has become more commercialized and mainstream just to keep up with the times.
Right.
But I think there's so many little restaurants that are really kind of fighting against it. And even like the Coconut Grove Organic Farmers Market, these things that are just so real and it's so community driven. And there's little pockets that I still feel like the old Grove, but I absolutely see like walking to Coco Walk feels like a whole new world. It could be like almost pretty much like in any city, but there is still that charm and the people are just so down to earth and you won't find that in other parts of Miami.
No, we have so much more of it here. Do you think that we're, as rents continue to rise here and properties become more valuable, but Coconut Grove has been able to hold on. I don't know if it's people own their buildings. That's always a good point when you have a restaurant to own your building. But I mean, in other areas of the country or even Miami, you see more chains coming in, and we're seeing a few. They're not huge big name chains. They're more smaller, localized chains and things like that. But it's what makes the Grove special to me. It's where you can't get that flavor like it's a flavor you can't get anywhere else.
No, I completely agree. But I think it's been tasteful, just like a Sweet Green, like the national chains that have arrived in the Grove have made it a point to blend in which I really appreciate.
Right.
I feel like they were just natural additions to young adults that were working in the area. They want a nice, healthy lunch spot, and I just feel like nothing, even like the clothing stores, like the Love Shack Fancy, all of that wasn't some Gucci store, something that
Right.
was like a giant name brand that would change this into like a Rodeo Drive or a Miami Design District. I think it's been tasteful, and every business that has moved in, they are like friendly with their neighbors, and I could just see this like camaraderie that I think so far so good. I would say I think it still has its charm.
Well, that's one of the keys to being successful here in the
Right.
Grove. That was one of the first lessons that I learned when I came here and spoke to some of the business owners is getting out and becoming part of your community, getting to know your neighbors, cross-pollination, cross-promotion, things like that is always super important here. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your career, right?
Yeah.
Food and drink, right? Two of everybody's favorite things. So you're editor for Miami New Times. So how did you get into that? I saw that you started off out of school, girl, right? Go Canes. We had a good season, but fell a little short. But you started off in TV and kind of moved over to the New Times. So how did that happen?
So I went to the University of Miami and I studied broadcast journalism and motion pictures. So there I really got a feel for journalism. And then right off the bat, after graduating, I worked for Channel 7 News. And I was doing breaking news, car accidents. I didn't really love it. I've always secretly loved events and restaurants, but I was...
Were you behind the scenes or were you in front of the camera?
I wanted to be in front of the camera, but
Okay.
somehow all the jobs available were behind the scenes.
Okay.
So I would try to shadow Lynn.
You got to get your star. You got to get your foot in the
Exactly.
door.
So I was working in a cubicle, like $12 per hour, honestly. It was not like glamorous.
Sure.
I was working the night shift, like 6 p.m. to midnight.
Oh,
So
wow.
while my friends were going to happy hour, I was going to work. And this is like when I was 23 years old. So that was kind of a struggle. But it was actually amazing because I got my first taste of like PR emails and publicists, and I started to see like Salty Donut collaborates with Nosberry Farm, and I got emails like that. So I started to realize, wait, I kind of love the food writing, so I would dabble in that. And then eventually I left local news, and I always loved events also, so I worked at Swarm Event Agency in Woodwood.
With Tony.
Yes, exactly.
Back in the day.
Yeah, so you could bring him up. Bring me up to him.
For sure.
So I was doing social media. I've always loved marketing, social media, copywriting. I loved witty captions. I was part of that wave of like Instagram users.
Timing was perfect. It
Yeah,
sounds like for your age, it was perfect
Exactly, it
timing.
was a
Me, it went way over my head. Right, I still don't get too involved in
Exactly.
social media.
I feel like I've been at the right time, the right place for
Yeah.
every wave. And then somehow I got the opportunity to be on The Bachelor. And I just took it because I studied already film, journalism. I felt like it combined like all of my passions. And I didn't mention this earlier, but I also studied acting when I was
Okay.
little growing up at Coconut Grove Playhouse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I
wow,
know.
look at that.
I
The
know.
Playhouse.
I know.
Man, I wouldn't think you were old enough to have actually been in the Playhouse, to be honest
Wow.
with you. Yeah.
Well, I'm
It's
33.
been that long. It's been
It's
that
true.
long that
Yeah,
it's been
so
that
I
it's been out
spent-
of commission.
Every single summer there, 3 summers in a row. And we never saw the sun. We were like in that playhouse from like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. writing musicals and writing songs.
I
It
can't
was
wait for
amazing.
that to come back. Hopefully, the residents can all
I
come
know.
together and kumbaya and get this
I
thing
know.
up and running. Because I know the county and the city are trying to further it and get it moving along. So hopefully we can get a consensus and get something built there. Because I'd love to see
Me too.
the community back in action there. More parking for the Grove. It'll just uplift the whole community.
Exactly.
I
And the
think.
arts part of Coconut Grove, which is so important, the arts community.
Which we're trying to bring it back, right? And that would be a big conduit to go ahead and do that.
Well, actually, so I didn't finish the Bachelor story. Sorry
Yes.
about that. I got a little sidetracked with the Playhouse. But so I realized like that would be a great opportunity for me just to get some behind the scenes production experience, but then also maybe find love. That was always
Right,
like the
right,
perk of it.
right.
So I did that for probably 2 years, up until COVID. Actually, I was on that TV show.
For 2 years?
Yeah, because I did a spin-off show called Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh, wow.
So that was filmed in Mexico, and before that, The Bachelor was filmed kind of like all over the world. It was pretty amazing. I was on Good Morning America. I hosted alongside Kiki Palmer.
Okay.
And I had some amazing experiences that I would never,
Now, do people still recognize you from the show
Sometimes.
from time to time?
sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
All
little,
right.
especially little girls that are fans, and it just happened in the Grove recently, actually. pretty much yesterday I was at
Really?
Mr. 01 with my boyfriend, and someone was like, "Hi." Like, you're Nicole from The Bachelor, right?
And like a little girl,
Yeah,
like
a
what,
young,
that watched
teenager,
like a rerun,
yeah.
watched a rerun. Oh wow, that's amazing.
Exactly.
I love it. And then that brought you into the New Times. How did that happen?
So I think COVID, it was like an amazing time for me just professionally, because I remember there was such a big push to support local. And I remember that whole movement, and I remember posting about the Flanagans in the Grove on Bird Road, because I was like, we got to support local. I have videos of me in my mask, like picking up Flanagans when they had that little build out in the parking lot during COVID.
I remember.
You remember?
I ordered from there many times.
I know, and I'm just like so thankful. Like, those restaurants all survived and were able to persevere. And I feel like posting about that kind of got me more into food. And it was like a natural progression from blogging on The Bachelor about like fashion, and then immediately just pivoting to food. And then a couple years went by, and I realized I really miss journalism and helping the community. Like, I still want to pursue my real passion, which is that I'm advocating for restaurants, local businesses, and my community. I just love Miami so much, and I didn't want to just be, like a pretty face doing social media ads. I wanted to make an impact. So that's when I applied. There was this amazing opening at the Miami New Times. And I actually had dabbled as a contributor for Miami New Times back in 2016. So it was kind of a full circle moment. I never thought I would get the opportunity, because the former food editor was there for over a decade.
Yeah, they don't leave.
They don't leave.
Yeah.
So I could not believe that there was an opening. Tom Finkel was the editor-in-chief at the time. He just retired.
Oh, wow.
And I was just so relieved. I got the role, I got the job, and the rest is history. It's been amazing ever since.
Now, do you find it difficult, right? We're in Grove, we're in your stomping grounds. Do you find it difficult, or is it easier to critique a local restaurant like in the neighborhood that you grew up in?
I do. I'm a little biased. I mean, a little bit. I have a soft spot for the
it's
Grove.
commonplace. You
right?
can't help it.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like especially like Barry's in the Grove, all these little spots that I've grown up going to, my parents, my brother, I do feel like I have a little soft spot for the Grove, so it is a little hard, but I'm also very fair. All my writers, we really judge, like, even though I say, like, sapore di mare, if it was amazing back in the day, I want to make sure, they have a new location. Let's make sure, how is it today? I'm very fair to see.
I love the new location.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I'm actually
prime.
really happy for them. Like,
Yeah.
that was a good switch up. But I know that was also kind of sad, that whole building leaving. It's weird even driving by it now.
It's growth, It's the evolution of the Grove. I think I'd love to get your take on it, right? How do you feel about some of these? It's obviously sad, right? But it's going to evolve. There's going to be a new, beautiful building there with new restaurants, new. Yeah. I think the dry cleaner is going to be coming back there, so some of the former glory will be restored, but more beautiful exteriors to it. I mean, what's your thought on some of the new incoming buildings in the Grove and losing some of its small town feel? We are Miami, after all, right? But, I mean, what's your kind of thought on that?
So I think I take, for example, what happened to Giralda Avenue in Coral Gables. That was also a normal road that has gone through so many renovations, but there's still a bar called The Bar that is still on Giralda. And even though that is so done up, it's so pedestrian, it's beautiful. They definitely redid the facade of all the restaurants and the pavement. I could see Fuller Street becoming that.
That's the
plan. I think the problem is right now the infrastructure, if you walk around Fuller Street, as much as I love it, there's so much charm. I can see how in 10 years at the rate it's going, it's falling to pieces. It's going to need some upkeep.
Right.
So I think this is kind of the perfect moment before in 10 years there's even more tourism. Can you imagine? More people, more foot traffic. So it just needs to have that solid base. And I think this year or these next 2 years, it does make sense to happen now before a boom that's eventually going to happen. We're seeing the boom, but I feel like it's about to pick up to another level that we're not even ready for. Yeah. So I think we really just need the infrastructure, like all the buildings to be up to date. That street needs to be good. But I hope Barracuda no one has to leave because of that. That's what.
No, they're
you
not
know,
going anywhere.
Exactly. They're not going
No,
anywhere.
I agree with you 100%. I think
it's
I
necessary.
think when Fuller gets renovated, which is forthcoming, they just had an article in the paper about the last stretch of designs. I think when the Playhouse and the garage come to fruition, I think those are going to be just that next level to really impact the Grove. I want to move on here. I want to talk about you. You did an article for when you an alum article, and you talked about your perfect day, and you threw a lot of love. You threw a lot of love to Coconut Grove. Now this was maybe a year ago. So, like, what's your perfect day to spend in the Grove?
This is like my favorite question. And even in that article you're referencing, they didn't even tell me to write about the Grove, but I was like, let me just go off because I love Coconut Grove so much. But for me, it definitely starts with like waking up early, going to see the ocean, going to Dinner Key Marina, running around there by Regatta and Bayshore Club, doing a little walk with your dog or your partner, and then immediately going to get bagels, which could either be at El Bagel, but if it's a Saturday, it's going to be a line out the door. So the secret is to go to Coral Bagels, place an order, go pick it up. Very chill, relaxed, great prices, amazing mom and pop atmosphere. And then from there, if you want to continue the day, you go get a coffee, like an after breakfast coffee. And
Iced coffee?
Yes. I think in the morning, hot coffee. I'm a very like Miami Cuban girl, hot coffee or espresso in the morning. And then in the afternoon, I love an iced coffee or a matcha. That's what I think.
Okay.
But, you know, I think iced coffee is all the rage these days.
Very
with
true.
Gen Z.
I'm a hot coffee guy. 99 degrees
Even
out.
if it's 100 degrees, you're sweating.
Hot coffee. Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, my mom was making us Cuban coffee the other day, and we're all like sweating outside. Like, this is great. But we're all like dripping in sweat. So funny. So then definitely coffee. And then for like a late, I say like you can go grab a snack at, so definitely head back into the main part of Main Highway and then go to Fuller Street. If it's happy hour, 5 o'clock somewhere, hop into Barracuda, get a beer. They also have an amazing snapper sandwich that no one really talks about. Their snapper is literally better
Got
than,
a hidden
honestly,
gem here,
no, it's
people.
literally a hidden gem. Like their food. I think people assume it's a dive bar. They look at it, it's a little rustic from the outside. But their menu and the seafood is top notch at Barracuda. And then that could be if you want like a casual dinner, but of course if you want like a really nice dinner, you could go to Le Bouchon du Grove. I love. It's so quaint, French cuisine, amazing. It feels like teleporting to France or Paris. It's really wonderful. And then even Meraki in the Grove, if you want a little perfect girls' night, not too expensive, very casual, relaxed, but you still feel like you're in a cute little town. I love the Greek food at Meraki. But of course, if you want to treat your parents or a special night out, celebrate an anniversary, definitely I would choose Carbone Vino. That is like super upscale and amazing. Or any restaurant at Mr. C. Bellini. That's also a classic. Beautiful views of the ocean in Biscayne Bay. I mean, there's so many options.
I love it. Amazing. Yeah. Sounds like an amazing day.
Right?
I'll have to rewatch this and try it myself here. Well, you talked about a bunch of great places in the Grove. What do you think is missing from the food scene here in the Grove?
I know. I was racking up like my thoughts because there's just so many amazing places. You have Bombay Darbar, authentic Indian food, and then you have Midori. A lot of people don't talk about Midori, but they have an amazing poke bowl. That's another little like secret for lunch. But I think I was just thinking maybe like a mom and pop bakery that just sells baked goods, something that isn't just a coffee shop that focuses on iced coffee.
Right.
I think something like a neighborhood hangout, because I think Emissary is a little bit on the expensive side, and that whole area isn't that like reasonable for students or University of Miami students that live nearby. So I think something a little bit more casual to do work in that maybe isn't a chain would be nice, because I know Crema Gourmet just opened at the former Lulu in the Grove, but I think something a little bit more doable for students. And a little place to hang out would be nice, because right now they have, of course, Panther Coffee. That changed the game, I feel like, when Panther Coffee moved into the Grove. That was like the beginning of the whole renaissance on Main Highway.
I love it.
Yeah.
Very cool. What, you see a lot of restaurants come and go. We've talked a little bit about restaurants, the staples that have stayed, the longevity. What do you see as the reason why either places are able to stay long-term or are one and done and come in here for a year and they're done?
Yeah, I think instead of chasing trends, they've all stayed true to themselves. to their menu. Nothing has really changed. They haven't really gone crazy with the prices. They've tried to really think about the consumer instead of about their own gains, or they haven't really gone to renovate their restaurant in a way that isn't feasible. They are staying true to themselves. So like Berries in the Grove, Coral Bagels, these places have been there for decades.
Right.
Le Bouchon du Grove is another one. These places have all stayed true. And a picture from 1998 of Green Street, for example, looks kind of the same. Nothing has really changed. They finally did some remodeling.
They got more outdoor seating out there.
Couches.
Thanks to the bid.
Wow. Amazing.
Before my time. But now you spoke about trends. What's a trend you see out there that you're kind of tired of?
For me, it's probably all this like wave of like food that's meant for social media, or like Dubai chocolate this, or like some like trendy food that they're putting on the menu just to attract people that go in once and they won't come back. So those type of menu items are good for social media engagement, but they don't bring back repeat customers. And a repeat customer only comes back if the service is amazing, the restaurant owners are honest, and the menu stays true to itself and it's delicious. If you have a good menu that is delicious and an amazing atmosphere and great servers, like that creates longevity. But if you're just going after like the hottest new drink and some frosé Bellini this with Dubai chocolate and da-da-da.
That is the one that I've seen a lot lately, the Dubai chocolate. Yeah, I've never been wanting to try it or anything like that.
Exactly.
I'm good, but yeah, I see it a lot.
Exactly. So you might be just drawing in the wrong clientele, someone who's in an Uber visiting with their friends on a bachelorette and coming once, but you won't see them again. And that doesn't create like longevity at all.
Agreed. Now I want to touch on guys out there looking to take a girl on a first date, right? Where's a good date spot in Coconut Grove?
Ooh. So I love a mall because it's not only is it beautiful, so that already sets the scene. But the food is amazing, and it's not too messy or anything like Italian food or something like sushi that's hard to eat. I think Amal is like a very pretty restaurant. And then what I love is that you could surprise a girl and be like, ooh, I know a spot. And you just hit the elevator and go all the way up to level 6. And it's like, especially if it's a woman who doesn't really know that area, they're going to be floored that you knew this hot spot upstairs. You take her right to the bar, order like an espresso martini or something. And I think and the views are just beautiful up there of Biscayne Bay again, and the skyline of Miami, downtown Miami. So I think that right there is such an easy good. Yeah. You park right next door near the Coconut Grove Playhouse, that parking lot, or you could valet in front or Uber. I think that's a really nice area. But then if she is your date, or he or she is more like, let's just go to a dive, then you walk to Taurus, which is such a cool locals only spot. It's like in an old. That building is one of the oldest, like in the entire.
I think it has a historic marker in front of it.
Wasn't like a post office or a train at one point had gone through there. It's really interesting. There's even a fireplace, like where there used to be a fireplace, because that's how old the building is. So that could be really cool, because the drinks there are actually amazing, and they have really good bar bites. So that could be a cool after dinner spot.
Okay, man, you're giving all the information out. Well, another one, flip the script a little bit, right? So college kids come down here from Miami and so a little more budget friendly. What's the best happy hour, like budget friendly happy hour here in the Grove? I want to know for myself, really, to be honest with you.
I know, budget friendly. I would say like even Monty's has not gone up that much in price.
Really?
And you could get some really good happy hour stone crabs when they're in season, and a raw bar that's like $5. If you look it up, the raw bar prices are really, really good at Monty's, and you get the water view, the vibes. You can get a PK3, which is that famous painkiller drink. So you get a lot of bang for your buck, because one drink can honestly get you a little tipsy. I'm just going to say.
Very cool.
It's very strong drinks at Monty's, so that's definitely budget friendly for college kids. If it's a game night, it's packed with college kids, Monty's.
Wow.
And then, of course, Barracuda I love, but they're mostly beer. So you have to be a beer lover, or they have some like spritzes on menu. So that one's also really good budget friendly. And then if you want a snack to pair that with, Chuggies has amazing cheap menu that's pretty kid friendly, and they have also like happy hour prices.
Well, what's the one, I love it. These are all great ideas, by the way. What's the one dish that you would recommend to people if they're coming in from out of town? What's the one dish you would recommend for people to try here in the Grove that that you got to try.
I know. I think I love, personally, I have a sweet tooth, so I love the fluffy pancakes at Chug's Diner.
I haven't had
And
those
I
yet,
take
but
my
I've heard
parents
about
there,
them.
or like whenever like someone's visiting out of town, like we have to do brunch, and I love the
They're,
pancakes
like,
there.
3
Yeah, they're
inches
just like
thick,
yeah,
right?
and they're like a showstopper, and that paired with some of the Cuban food there, because you get the Cuban flavors.
Right.
It's like a very good place that kind of blends what Miami is all about and the Grove, and definitely that. And as I mentioned before, the snapper at Barracuda.
I'm going to
So
have to
good, the
try
snapper
both of
sandwich.
those.
Tell me, because yeah,
You're at least
It's
the
gonna-
first person to
it's
tell
gonna
me about the
taste like the
pancakes.
Keys. Like it
But
tastes like Key Largo.
That's the first I've heard about the snapper. I have eaten food at Barracuda's a few times, but I haven't tried the snapper, so I'll have to check it out. I'll let Lee know you're throwing him a shout out.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out Lee.
Now we're coming to the final segment of our show called the Grove 3. Cafecito or cocktails?
know.
What's your pleasure?
Ooh, I think the thing is that I could live without cocktails, but I can't live without cafecito. So I have to say cafecito for sure.
That's a good point. That's a
Right?
good point. I don't know if I could live without. I'd get the jitters if I stopped
Exactly.
drinking coffee for a
Exactly.
little while. And where's your favorite spot to get some cafecito?
So when I'm in Coconut Grove, I go to Chug's Diner, because they have great Cuban coffee, amazing cafecito. I love it there. But if I'm gonna go venture out, then I definitely go to Little Havana, and I go to honestly any ventanita that you see is gonna serve amazing, authentic Cuban cafecito that has the right amount of sugar with the espumita, the foam on top.
Espumita.
You need that on top.
You can't say those words here. We're talking about the Grove.
Oh
though,
yeah,
you
you're
know?
right. So that's the foam. So for people who don't know, that proper Cuban coffee is filled with cane sugar at
True,
the bottom,
true.
and you whip it up to create a foamy layer on top. And I go to, of course,
I love
either
it.
like the Ventanita at Versailles on 8th Street. They have great classic Cuban cafecito, and the people there make it even better. All the old abuelos, like the grandparents,
True.
that are sitting there, and they go there every single morning. It's
a good
cool to see.
a good
regulars.
friend of mine always makes Cuban coffee for us whenever we come. We got him a shirt, "God Espumita" on
I
the
love
front.
that.
So yeah, he wears it with pride. He does.
You should.
And the last question I got for you, it's been a pleasure having you on here, is describe Coconut Grove in one word.
Ooh. I would say magical.
I love it. Tell me
I
why.
mean, yesterday it was even raining in the Grove, as that happens in the summer. But even then, you see little kids laughing, crossing the street, crossing main highway, people bike riding, like they're not even caring in the world that it's raining. They're gonna go get ice cream. The coffee shops are filled, the ice cream shops are filled. People are making a line at Mr. O1, mingling. It feels like a different place, because Miami sometimes can feel isolating. It's such like a car-heavy place to live, and you really have to like drive to get to any little town. But Coconut Grove feels like this little special village where people are still mingling like it was 1990.
I love it.
People are mingling with each other, neighbors, little kids. The people were looking at my dog yesterday, laughing, petting the dog, and it just feels like a real neighborhood.
I love it. Beautiful. Very magical.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so
exactly.
much for
Well,
joining us.
Thank you so much. It's been
And-
amazing.
We'll be back again for another episode of Inside the Grove. Thank you.